to assess your season? I know we talked to you the other day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was kind of the same as last year, I thought. Couldn't find the back of the net in the first half of the season, and then started to obviously super frustrated and take a little bit more onus and be a little bit more aggressive and selfish, so to speak, and shoot the puck more, and started to find the back of the net in the second half. So that was nice, but needed to put a full 82 games together.
Is there anything you'd like to see tweaked about the defensive system, or how the PK is run?
The penalty kill and defensive zone in particular. I think we just have to get on the same page about the system we're playing and everyone's responsibilities in that system. Obviously, we're in there a lot this year, and for long stretches of times it felt like, and that's not easy to do, and it's extremely tiring when you don't have the puck and you're chasing it. And I think the penalty kill, we had a lot of, unfortunate bounces in the first half of the year. I think after January we kicked it into gear pretty good, and there's a lot of things that kind of go into that, but we started being more aggressive and just kind of saying screw it, and if they're going to make 3, 4, 5 plays in a row, then sometimes you have to tip your hat. But I think that's conversations that we have to have with the coaches. If the players want something different or something's not working, I think that's a group effort to figure that out.
You've got so many young D-men coming up, Bill Mastro and Kaiser. And as the veteran of the bunch, or one of the veterans of the bunch, how excited are you about what you're going to see in the next year or so?
Very exciting, very exciting. Saw a lot of guys get their first NHL games the last few weeks, and that Daly did a great job of coming in there. You can see he's already has the NHL defenseman stature to him. He's big, physical. He had a couple big hits in that game that he played. He moves the puck well, so that was awesome to see. You saw Vlasy, playing with him all year, just tremendous steps. I mean, I played with Werenski when he was 21, and they're different players, but you see the same stuff that you're seeing there. I am personally, so Vlasy's going to be a heck of a defenseman, and I had a lot of fun playing with him this year. You saw Korch take great steps this year too. Obviously, we want him to compete a little harder and things like that, and I think Kevin Dean, the D coach, did a great job of being hard at him but letting him play through things. And I think that's what it's all about when you're trying to develop players. So, Kaisi had a pretty good season with us too when he was up with us. We saw a lot of guys, Krebby, Philly, a lot of guys played for us this year on the back end, a lot of young guys, and it's not an easy thing to play right now, especially as a young defenseman here. So you're put in a lot of different situations that you normally wouldn't be put in, and I thought they all did a great job of staying composed for the most part.
What do you think it would take for this group to be more competitive next year and take that next step?
I think we need to be a little bit more dialed into our system, I think. Whether that's defensive zone or offensive with the puck, or just kind of knowing where everyone's at, taking some of the gray out of the game. When I won't say that. I mean, we just went through bad stretches where we're all getting frustrated, and then we start, kind of trying to do our own thing and do it ourselves. And I think we really have to try to stay away from that and do our best too. That obviously comes with the leadership. That's my job. That's Nick's job and Jason's job and Connor's job and the older guys to kind of keep that together as best as we can. But we just want to see growth. We want to get into a situation where we're developing bad habits, and that turns into different things. So we want to be moving together and working toward a common goal every single game, whether it's a win or a loss. Sometimes the lesson is there even when you don't get the result. So we need to learn to kind of take those negative results we're getting right now and turn them into a positive and hopefully win more games.
Foligno was saying after that game in LA that he wants to see some personnel changes, just because obviously this year wasn't acceptable, and the front office may not be as aggressive as he would like them to be. But have you given any thought to that, or are you hoping to see some new guys brought in this summer?
Yeah, I've had good talks with Fliggy, privately about that, and in the leadership group, of course. But I think he's right when it comes to that. I know we need some identity pieces. I think we need guys that want to play 10 to 12 minutes on a fourth line or third line, go out there, do his job, be happy that the team won without scoring a goal or getting a point. You know, he goes out there, he does his job, he gets off, he doesn't complain about his ice time, he doesn't care about that. He just wants to see the team win, and while he's doing his job to the best of his ability. So I think we call them identity pieces. You know, guys like that will bring different guys into the fight in those situations. So yeah, I definitely on board with Nick saying that.
How did you see the leadership of the team evolve this year in the first season after Jonathan Tapes left as captain?
Obviously, we were hit with challenges, you know, from the start here, just with the expectation of we're in a rebuild. And I think when you're, you know, my age or you're even Nick's age, you want to win. And it's frustrating when you're not and you don't know what to do about it. Obviously, there's different expectations when it comes to management and when it comes to the players. We want to see results now. You know, we're not patient. So we're not as patient as they are. We don't play this game forever. You know, they're in the game a lot longer than we are. And so that is a tough thing to balance. Not getting frustrated at mistakes that are going to be inevitable with a young team. That's another challenge that me personally had to deal with, and I know the leadership group did too. So it's not easy, I'll tell you that. A lot of sleepless nights, and trying to come to the rink with a positive attitude when you can. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be happy, which we shouldn't be happy that we're losing. But I think trying to stay positive and, like I said, learn from this process.
Tyler Johnson was saying that, reflecting on his time in Chicago, it wasn't exactly what he envisioned or wanted when he first got here. And certainly in your case, I mean, you could definitely make that argument. Does it feel like, in a way, the rug was pulled out from under you for the circumstances with which you came to Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think if you could see into the future 3 months, you know, in the position I was in, I don't know if I would have, you know, this is a great organization, obviously, but I didn't really want to rebuild, you know, when I left Columbus. So I completely agree. You know, I was coming to a team that had a lot of great young players that we were building towards something, it felt like, and I think a lot of things happened, you know, away from hockey in the organization that they kind of had to reroute and take a different approach. And listen, I respect what Kyle and Norm and everyone's doing in the organization. I think it's going to be a successful organization again and get where we want to be again. But yeah, it's definitely been a tough 3 years. Yeah, I mean, as you probably know, I mean, you're watching it too, right?
As a player, do you try to speed up that process? Like, you try to find ways to be like, man, you know, how can we make this go faster?
Of course, you're constantly thinking about that, right? You want to, if I would tell management today, you know, go sign a bunch of free agents, you know, so, or go do this, go do that, but it's not, you know, it's not up to us, you know, it's up to them. And we, you know, next year I hope that, you know, we look at teams like Nashville. No one thought they had a chance. Philly. No one thought they had a chance to be even competing for the playoffs. You know, so we want to be one of those teams where we don't have a lot of skill. You know, so we want to. I think when you look at those teams, you can see that they all on the same page. They're doing the same thing. They're working toward a common goal. Because team success is the driving force to you being, you know, getting another deal or whatever it is. Everyone wants winners. You know, so. I think that's something that we really have to hammer home here.
Do you see the Worlds as an opportunity for you and Velasquez to, I guess, just further develop or just, I mean, since you guys were using the top pairing so much earlier this season?
100%. I mean, this will be my fifth one, maybe. I'm excited for Blassie. It's going to be his first one, and I'm not sure if we're going to play together or what the D pairing is going to be there yet. But I'm happy that he can kind of keep growing his game on the world stage and put the USA sweater on again. And it's always an honor to go over there and play for your country. It doesn't matter what term it is or what time of the year it is. But yeah, I would like to keep building chemistry with him. I think, you know, even right now, toward the end of the season, we knew exactly where we were on the ice, whether it was offensively or defensively. And I think he took it. You know, one thing I loved about him is he was just as frustrated as I was this year. and that speaks volumes. Especially a young player, he could be thinking about 100 other different things. Just happy to be here. But I could see, we always talked about the frustration level, and just continuing to get better and grow together was a big thing for us.
The identity pieces that you're talking about, what's the key to developing that inside the room with some of these young guys? And are there already a few candidates that you feel can?
Well, I don't think it's something you develop. I think it's something that you want to do. You have to want to go be F1 and go hit that defenseman, go be F2. You're not going to touch the puck probably, but you're going to make that guy's life hell. So and when you do that every single shift and you always do the right thing, it's not easy to play against, and we don't want to be an easy team to play against. So you have to want to block a shot. You have to want to do the right thing. Even though it's not the glory thing to do. It's not the goal. It's not the saucer pass. I think we need a little bit more of that kind of grit in our game that you saw a team like Nashville have when we played them, a few weeks ago against us. And they're every single shift, you know exactly what they're doing. You can't do anything about it.
Do you feel like that was more of your game before you kind of went with the shoot first mentality?
What's that?
Like at the beginning of the year, how you said you were just becoming a little bit more shoot first, a little bit more selfish in your game to try to kickstart things. Do you feel like that was the aspect of your game at the beginning of the season more?
I'm talking about like the team.
Yeah.
The grit as a team. Just constantly doing the right thing. Yeah, I was shooting the puck more in the second half. I'm sorry, I'm kind of confused by the question a little
Sorry,
bit. That's okay. I don't.
Well, let me ask you this. You talk about identity pieces, and there's some outside observers that say, like, folks like yourself and Foligno maybe expect too much because maybe the talent is not there. Do you agree with that assessment, or is it like guys not wanting certain roles or guys checked out?
I think when you have a team of 1 to 1 year deals, it's extremely difficult to get everyone on the same page of a common goal. Everyone wants points. Everyone's going to do that to look out for themselves. It's extremely difficult. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I think that will be one of our biggest challenges moving forward. When you have a bunch of guys on 1 and 2 year deals, it's tough, and that's where we have to hammer home. Team success will drive your next deal. If you're in the playoffs, if people see you playing in the playoffs, they see you're a winner, you're going to get, you know what I mean? People respect that.
You guys played without a formal captain this year. Do
Mm-hmm.
you think you'll have one next year? Would you like one?
I'm not sure.
Step into that role?
I'm not sure what management's thinking with that. I haven't talked to them about that.
You talked about just that young group. You talked about the frustration. You talked about the leadership. What do you hope that you brought as a leader to that young group that really resonates now, but then years down the road?
I hope I brought some form of leadership when it comes to being a pro every day, showing up to play every day. Obviously, communicating with the young guys. I hope I've given them pointers, especially the defensemen, of course. I'm much closer and spend a lot more time with them, whether it's during the game, whether it's during practice. Trying to work through different challenges with them has been fun for me, because when I came in, I had, Shea Weber, an older defenseman. I played with Barrett Jackman, and so a lot of these older defensemen kind of helped me through that too. Whether it's hockey, whether it's life. I know Vlasi was coming to me a lot in the second half, just how, he started playing 23, 24 minutes a night, and just saying how tired he was and how exhausted he was, and so just trying to give him pointers with that, just so he had his energy for the game. So different little things like that. I hope I've helped along the way here.
Even through moments of frustration, there's a little bit of glimmers of hope this past season. Has there been a favorite moment that you've had?
Wow. Favorite moment. We had some jersey retirements this year. Obviously, Kaner's return. I haven't seen a United Center like that in a while. That was special to see. It's fitting that he scored the OT winner too against us. But I think playing at home, our record wasn't too bad at home. To be honest, I don't know exactly. I think we had 17 wins or something like that at home. 16 wins. Thanks, Ben. So, that's not terrible. It's not great, of course, but I think our fans gave us a lot of oomph this year. I love the attendance. I didn't expect the attendance to kind of hold up like it did with what we were putting on the ice, but it did, and we love every minute of playing here in front of the fans, and that's something that we should not take for granted. United Center is one of the best places in the world to play hockey. I've seen it, and I played against Chicago in the playoffs, and it's amazing what it can be. So I think that's something that we can kind of all look forward to get back to in Chicago.
Asking about the leadership, a lot of guys have kind of similar temperaments, with you and Foligno and Jason. You've been around other groups. Do you kind of need, excuse my language, an a-hole in the room to?
I know exactly what you mean. Do we need an a-hole in the room? I played with some, for sure. It could be kind of a love-hate thing, but you don't see it as much anymore. It's definitely a character trait that's not as prevalent, in my opinion. But I do think it's important that there is a guy in the room, and you can call him an a-hole, but that will tell you how it is and is not afraid to do that. Do we need one of those guys? Maybe. Maybe we do. I fought to try to not do that sometimes, even though it's necessary. But when push comes to shove and you're in a team meeting or you're talking to the guys about how we can make this thing better, there has to be someone in there that will tell you just how it is. And I think that's, like you said, we can call it an a-hole, but I think that's one of the more important guys in a locker room. You can look everyone in the eye and say, you're not doing a good enough job. You're not doing a good. So the answer is probably yes. It's coming from me.
When you go through a season like this, very challenging, how do you decompress in the off season?
Well, I'm playing Worlds in a couple weeks, so just trying to, I think, find a little joy from that and putting the skates on, and hopefully I can win gold. U.S. hasn't won gold in a long time over there, I think since maybe the 30s or the 50s or something like that. So it's been a while, and we're having a pretty good squad over there, so I'm very excited about that. And then in the off season, you kind of get back to, it's kind of a year-round thing these days. You have maybe 3 weeks of decompression and whatever you want to travel or do what you want to do, but then you're back to training. I'm back to training, and I'll probably put the skates on again in July, so there's not really much time. I think in my head, you want to get out there and you want to get better, and it doesn't matter what age you are, you're always pushing to be the best you can be, so there's not going to be much downtime, really, I don't think.
Seth, when you're talking about the 1 and 2 year deals, I just want to make sure I understand, right? It's a business. 1 or 2 year deal,
sure.
You've got the next contract you have to worry about. That
Mm-hmm.
has to be marketed to a general manager, or somebody's got to I like those numbers, I'm going to sign this guy, I'm going to give him some money. Are you saying that when people have 1 and 2 year deals, they're more concerned about individual statistics than little quiet things than what hockey moves? Or am I
Yeah,
misreading that?
I just think it's natural.
Okay.
I think it's very natural. I've had Caleb was on a 1 or 2 year deal, and if you play bad or you don't get a point in a while, you are thinking about that. I mean, it's just human nature, right? You don't, like I said, you don't play forever, so you're constantly thinking about your next deal or whatever it is. You're talking to your agent away from the rink. I'm not saying you bring that into the rink as through your personality or the things you say, but sometimes you can't tell when you're in a hockey game, and maybe it's harder for media to tell, and it probably is. But when you're down there on that ice, and you feel it.
Do you think there's maybe
Last one for Seth.
something wrong with the culture of the sport where a general manager might actually look at goals and assists rather than the other things that a
No,
player did?
no, it's not. No,
Your process might be a little.
that's not really. No, I'm not saying that it's a general manager problem. I'm just saying it's just a human nature problem. If you have a team of 1 year deals, it's not easy to get everyone to play for one thing.
We all silly like the mayor.